Hello, can anybody hear me? All right, welcome to today's session. My name is Anita Michael, and as usual, as you know, I am the founder and director of the Talk Queen Academy, a global career and professional capability development institution that is designed to prepare graduates and entry level professionals for global relevance. At the Top Win Academy, we always say professional capability, global relevance. So today we are at it again. This is another masterclass session. We're going to be talking today about how to think like a boss, how to think like a boss, mastering value creation and business thinking in the global workspace. And this is an exciting topic. So if you're excited like I am, then let's jump right into it. Welcome. Let's connect. This session, we're going to be talking a lot about how employers actually think. Employees sometimes live on an island of their own, and employers seem to live on their own. But today, we're going to break the divide and bridge the gap between those two islands. Let's connect and let us learn how employers actually think. So, just as we're trying to dive in, drop a quick introduction in the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're joining from, your current career status, if you're working, and what your job role is. Also, tell us one thing it is that you're excited to learn today. The learning objectives of this session is that at the end of it, you will be able to define value creation from an employer's perspective. You will adopt a business mindset to see beyond your job description. Remember, in the last session, we talked about entrepreneurship just a little bit. Then you'll also be able to apply structured problem solving to real workplace challenges. The vocabulary you need to look out for and acquaint yourself with include value creation, bottom line, ROI. So, what is value creation? Value creation is simply the act of making a company more profitable or efficient through your actions. So, it means that if you join company XYZ, as the resultant effect of you joining company XYZ should be that the company is more profitable or and more efficient. Efficiency in terms of outcomes, activities, and the overall objectives of the organization or the company being done better than it was before you joined through your actions. What is bottom line? Bottom line is the final total of a business's loss or a business's profit or loss. It's the most important factor in a decision, especially for investors, the business owners, as well as major stakeholders, right? The bottom line is the most important factor in a decision. For instance, there's going to be a merger or an acquisition, or the company is thinking, should we do an initial public offering, an IPO? Should we declare? Should we list or delist? All of those things are tied to the bottom line. So ROI is the return on investment, measuring if the time or money spent is resulting in a worthy gain, right? So every employer is looking out to see if what they have invested into getting you as an employee is worthy. Is it worth the problem? Is it worth the cost? Are you worth the investments, right? So these are some of the essential vocabulary you need to pay attention to for today's session. Now let's talk about the employer's secret hook. What are you really being paid for? Most employees believe that you're getting paid for your time. And I have experienced this personally as an employer. People come into the workplace and they just want to evaluate time, even if they're not doing anything. They will just come in from maybe 8 or 9, depending on, okay, 9 to 5. They come in by 9, and then They just believe that they can be there the whole day and they leave by 5 and they expect to get paid. And I have seen it happen over and over again. And as somebody who has also been in the space of an employer, I find it's one of the most frustrating things that can ever happen to your business. As an employer, it's really frustrating because I mean you put yourself in the employer shoe. Somebody comes into the space that you're paying rent for, you're paying for electricity, you're paying for lights, you're paying for energy, you're paying other charges, right? You're probably for organizations that put their employees on other perks and benefits. You're supplying all of those things, and then the person comes into the workplace and just sits there and just is there till the end of the day by 5, they just pick their briefcases and out the door they go. That is really frustrating, given the fact that at the end of the month, you're going to cough out an amount and pay that person. So the truth is, employers are not paying for your time. They're not even paying for your efforts. People used to really think, or even employers used to think, you're not putting enough effort, and I'm paying you, but that's not the case anymore. Employers are paying for results. Employers are paying for results. That's why when you hear about people being laid off, they were not laid off because they were not bringing results. Anybody that is an employer will keep, in fact, will retain and at all costs the employee that brings in results. So if people are being laid off, it's mostly those that are working with efforts and I believe that they are there for the time spent. So imagine you own a bakery in Ikeja. Do you pay your baker for standing in the kitchen for 8 hours or for the 500 loaves of bread that they sold to customers? Right? So you see, you don't pay the person for coming into your bakery to be standing in the kitchen for 8 hours. If you needed somebody to stand in the kitchen, you can bring your toddler. They have a lot of energy. They will just stand. In fact, they will even run around for you for 8 hours. When they're tired, they'll fall on the floor and sleep. But you're not paying for that. You're paying for the results, 500 loaves of bread that they're producing and selling to the customers. The key point is that employers do not buy hours, they buy solutions to their problem. Now, let's talk about the value creation mindset. The key concept here is that to an employer, every employee is either an asset or a liability. There's no sitting on the fence here. You're either an asset or you're a liability. So what this means as an asset, you can either be making money for the company or you save time. Let's say you came to the company and there's a particular process for logistics that used to take a lot of time. And then you just thought, why don't we do it this way? And you came up with a system, which is something we talk about a lot in the Career Readiness Essentials program. You thought about it, you designed a system and came up with something that is efficient, that cuts, let's say, usually that particular procedure would take 3 hours and you cut it down to 40 minutes. Do you think that your employer will think you're valuable? Definitely, right? It's either that or you're a liability. You cost money and you waste time. There's no sitting on the fence. There's no gray area here. It's this or that. So how do you create value? Remember, we're talking about the value creation mindset. How do you create value? Number one, increase revenue, help the company sell more. Every employer will fall head over heels in love. Would you ever hear of? Have you ever heard of a person being fired from a company that they're making a lot of money for? It's rare. When it happens like that, sometimes it's personal interest, workplace politics. But before it happens, you must have taken a lot. They must have a plan B, a very good plan B at that. Everybody loves somebody who makes money for the company. That's the truth. If I'm running a company and there's somebody who is making a lot of money for me or helping my company to sell more, I would love the person. Of course, I would pay the person more. I wouldn't even need the person to ask me for a raise. I would be the one to improve the remuneration of the person, right? Every company also is looking for a person that helps them decrease costs. So that's how you create value. Find ways to do things that in ways that are cheaper or faster. If we used to if we used to audit books using the 3 weeks, find a way for us to audit our books in 2 days. Find a way to make turnover quicker. Find a way to make delivery quicker. If we used to take the delivery company or the delivery process for each customer takes a minimum of 1 hour, 30 minutes. and a maximum of upwards from that. You cut it down to 30 minutes. Do you not think you'd be helping the company decrease costs? Do you not think you'd be more valuable to the company? The next way is to improve experience. You want to improve customer experience because when you improve customers' experience, they come back. So the other day I was reading a post, I was reading an article rather by I think the CEO of Farmtech, the company. I think it's an automobile company, Farmtech. And so they're talking about how that there was a particular manager who left the workplace. He put in his resignation letter and he left, and they were happy for him, and he had served well. And of course, they weren't happy to lose him, but they understood that sometimes we need to move on to the next phase of their lives. But about a week or 2 weeks into this man's resignation, they began to notice that customers were complaining exactly the way they were moving. And it was that experience that taught them that he had so built relationships with customers to the point that he was the reason many customers were coming back. They liked him. He followed up. He had a relationship with them. And he had a way of doing things for them that other people did not do for them. Right? So improve customer experience, make them want to come back over and over again. Now here's a real life scenario. The logistics delay. So here's the situation. There's Lagos fuel shortages, right? And because of this, deliveries are delayed. What is happening is that the boss is facing a lot of complaints. People are saying you guys are not efficient anymore. You don't deliver in time. This is not how you started with us. You're slacking. So the employee mindset is fuel shortage is not my fault. I will just wait until this blows over. That's how the employee mindset is. That's how the employee thinks. Well, the business mindset is okay. I'm going to research bike routes and propose batch deliveries. So instead of the delivery persons carrying one package per delivery run, you can carry like up to 3 or 4 packages to save time. So depending on the route of the customers, if person A, B, and C are along the same route, the person can just deliver along the same route at once. So what's the result? You save the company's reputation and you reduce waste of time and resources, right? That is the business mindset. That is entrepreneurship. That is taking ownership, even in a business that's not your own directly, right? So that's the difference between the employee mindset and the business mindset. So which one do you think would make you a valuable employee anywhere in the world? Anywhere in the world. Remember, we're always talking about global relevance, the ability to be able to be relevant really anywhere in the world that you work at any point in time, in any industry, any sector. The ability to be relevant, the ability to be indispensable, right? To walk into indispensable rather, to walk into a room and then when you leave that place, people want you back immediately because things are not the same without you. Now let's talk about mastering problem solving. Employers value people who bring solutions, not just problems. And this is something we talk about a lot in the Career Readiness Essentials program. We always say in our lesson on proactiveness and ownership, taking ownership, that it is a crime. It should be a crime for an employee to come to their employer with a problem without a proposed solution that they have thought about. If you're coming to tell your employer that there is a problem with delivery, you have better thoughts about an accompanying solution, at least 2 or 3 solutions. It doesn't mean that the solutions would always be viable. It means that you had thought ahead. I saw a movie recently and it caught me. One of the characters said something that really caught me. She asked a question. She said, "How to think ahead? You have to learn how to think. It's like a game of chess. You have to that your opponent might be making, right? So employers value people that bring solutions, not just problems. Identify what is the root cause of this problem. Fix this problem. Third, recommendation. Remember, never. Now we're saying at least, but we come up with at least. If you finish, have maximized. Let's have a quick value creation. If you finish all your assigned tasks perfectly, is it true or not that you have maximized your value to your employer? Okay, so if you finish all your assigned tasks, if you finish all your assigned tasks perfectly, have you maximized your value to the employer? Okay, before we get to the answer, here's what you need to know. Completing task is the only thing an employer looks for in a performance review. Is it true? Value is created by looking for ways to improve the business beyond just following orders. Which one is complicit in this matter we're talking about? Obviously it's B. Obviously it's B because it's one thing to finish your task. Finishing your task, sometimes you can become the person that only does what they are told to do. And that is frustrating too because you also want somebody who can think ahead, somebody who is proactive. So what if I'm not in the office and we're out of fuel? Are you saying that work will not get done because I wasn't around and because it's not your job description to handle that problem, right? So value creation extends beyond doing just what you were assigned to do, right? It extends into looking for ways to improve the business beyond just following orders. Okay, now let's have a value audit. You are a bank intern. There's a long queue for account updates and it's causing customer frustration. So people are lining up at the bank and they're trying to update their accounts, right? And the long queues is really, really, really frustrating for the customers. So your task is to brainstorm ways to create value by one, reducing wait times, two, managing frustration, three, promoting digital adoption. That's your task. You're a bank intern. The queues are getting longer, customers are getting frustrated. What do you need to do? Brainstorm ways to create value creation. One, you can reduce waiting time. Two, you can manage frustration. Oh my, just about my laptop is low. Managing frustration. Three, promoting digital adoption. So Okay. Apologies for the break. So, today's class was not one that we intended to come and spend a lot of time in. Okay? So, here's your assignment. Here's your second assignment. For the next 7 days, I want you to observe a local business that you visit. Maybe it's a shop, okay. Uh, my apologies for that. We had back. Okay. 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 So I was on the part where I said to observe a local business that you visit. Problem. Maybe you go to feel with people, but what is one solution that you would propose to the on next class? So I was saying that it's exciting because if I had a visit and somebody walked in and shared these things with me, of course I would try to look for ways to retain that person, or even if I can't retain the person, at least retain their entrepreneurial mindset, right? Either contract based, it could open doors for you. So this is the end of our session for today. It was very brief, but it was also very profound. I look forward to seeing you. This is my invitation to you to join the wait list for the Career Readiness Essentials program. This is my invitation to you to sign up for the CREP program. That's what we call it for short. It would absolutely transform your career. I think what we're going to do is that in the next session, we would play of the present student or the past alumni of the program. So you can hear for yourself. So you don't take our word, you don't take my word for it. So let's keep reading together. The journey of course to mastering business, thinking and entrepreneurship does not end here, it's just starting. So share your story, share your experience, share your vision, share your vision. Let's keep reading together. The journey of course to mastering business, thinking and entrepreneurship does not end here, it's just starting. So share your story, share your vision, share your vision. Let's keep reading together. The journey of course to mastering business, thinking and entrepreneurship does not end here, it's just starting. So share your biggest takeaway in the community, tag your peer, tag us online. We'll be happy to share your posts and to collaborate with you across TikTok. And of course, invite your friends to join the waitlist as well. Follow us across the board, even on YouTube. And we will be seeing you in the next session. Thank you.